Now I'm gonna say something that might make some of you squirm, but I urge you to hear me out before you discount what I'm about to say. Sometimes you need to change your opinions, your political views, or maybe even your theology, depending on the circumstances and the people around you. Now, before we get too far along, I want to give you a bit of a metaphor. I'm very particular about the way that I mow my lawn. It's not just about getting the grass cut. I like to cut alternating patterns so I don't start to see the tracks where the wheels go all the time, cut it on an angle once, and then on a different angle the next time, and then straight back and forth, and so on. I also like to be able to see pretty straight lines when I'm done, especially when I cut back and forth, because when I look out my back door, it is so satisfying to look down straight lines. The thing is, I also have a mound septic system in the back, which means I have a big hump kind of in the middle of my lawn, which makes it difficult to remain going in a straight line. As I'm mowing along the sides of the hump, I need to adjust the direction I'm going in order to keep going straight. If the hump leans down to the right, then I need to point a little to the left. Or if the hump leans to the left, I need to point a little to the right. I need to adjust what I am doing in the moment in order to keep going straight over the long run. Now, because I'm kind of a philosophy nerd, I started to wonder if maybe this can help us think about the ways we need to respond to the culture and the people and the circumstances around us. If our culture is leaning to the left, maybe we need to steer a little to the right. Or if our culture is leaning a little to the right, maybe we need to steer a little to the left. And to do this well, we need to know a couple of things. We need to be really clear about the long-term direction we need to travel. We need to be able to figure out which way our culture might be leaning, and we need to be willing to shift directions and not remain too committed to a particular course of action. We also might need to give up kind of simplistic black and white kinds of categorizations of culture as a whole, because we all know that culture is not uniform. There's all kinds of biases, agendas, and distractions in our world, and the way that these things take us off course depends on the issue, the place, and the individuals that are involved. Sometimes our surroundings might push us a little to the left. Other times they might push us to the right. And so it's important to note these things so that we can adjust our activity accordingly. Now, this may look inconsistent to some, changing what we do based on the circumstances that surround us or maybe the people we're around. And in some ways, it may be. We may respond differently on the surface, but we do so in order to maintain our ultimate course. And so if we do this well, in the long run, we will see the consistent straight line towards what God is calling us to be and the ways in which we are called to work in this world. Now, this isn't always easy to figure out, and that's why we need each other. And that's particularly why we need each other to actually have good discussions and to be open to what others say, to not come into a particular place with our agenda and an inability to change our opinions because we know that we are right. After all, we need to be able to admit that we might be wrong. You might be wrong about whatever it is that you hold most dear, and it's good to hold that a little bit loosely so that God can lead you into the places where you can actually be useful and to keep maybe a straight line even though you need to adjust along the way.